Hello everyone, my name is Gigo Zaran and today is the 21st of February 2016. Excuse me. Today we're going to talk about David Cameron stuff. The EU deal between the UK and the EU. It's interesting, strange and interesting at the same time. I'm looking at my picture, not in the camera. We're going to talk about stupid things today. Here's people are bollocks. Sigh. Anyway, that was just a little bit fun. I'm gonna talk about the stupid bollocks people are saying. What was it? Some Johnny C character. Yeah. Anyway, let's just skip that. Actually, back up. Oh dear, that's a small picture. Anyway, there are a little bit of confusion about the UK deal thing. To understand why UK leaves the EU would be very disastrous. Let's actually Google this, shall we? EU workers in the UK. The Guardian from what date was this, by the way? Doesn't say. February 5th. It's basically this Wednesday. The Wednesday that has been. The number of EU workers in Britain remains above 2 million. Remains above 2 million. Like that's a bad thing. The thing about the workers, EU workers in the UK is that they make up a hell of a lot of people. There are 2 million of them. Out of a total of total of 3.22 million non-UK citizen workers. Think about that. What would happen if these people who are working in the UK using the right that the EU gives them to work in any other member state, if they were just to be kicked out, as would be the consequence of the UK leaving the EU, it would be disastrous. You would lose a hell of a lot of workers, especially in not many people are talking about the low wage bracket, the the builders and the contract stuff like that. But what about the tech industry? There are probably there are probably many tech companies that actually have workers that are non-UK citizens. What will you do? What will happen? And I'm actually very worried for the UK because they would basically lose all their trade in one go. The trade would basically cease because they would have to basically draft up new trade deals. the UK would have to create new trade deals with the EU. Disastrous. Be basically a year, perhaps, or at least 6 months, where the UK can't trade, or will have to trade with very high tariffs. Tolls. And it's worrying. I like the UK. We, the European, we in the EU, we can live without the UK, but UK can't bloody live without us. They would lose 2 million workers. Say that I have a sister, she works in the UK. She works in a medical company. She makes medical tech medical tech company. A large portion of the people who she works with are EU citizens, non UK EU citizens. They are. She's a middle boss or something like that, and if she was to lose a job, she would have to move back here. If this deal went through, she would basically be kicked out of the UK. Is that something you want? Something you really, really want? Losing a large portion of your highly skilled workers? Think about it. What more can we talk about? We can talk about let's talk about the EU as a entity. The EU isn't like your typical entity or trade union stuff, or trade union stuff, organization. It hasn't been that for a long, long time. It is a super state. Whether we like to call it that or not, that is the fact of what it is. It is a super state. It governs what it creates laws for each member state to implement in their own way, perhaps. It's basically like the United States, but we don't call it a federation because we don't have presidential elections. We don't have all that. We have a council, the European Council, European board of directors, basically. But these are the directors we have. What are they called? Politicians. A board of politicians, you can call them, just to make it easier to understand. If the UK were to leave as a member state of the European Union, a union that is a super state, we wouldn't care. Basically, the European Union would say, "Oh, fine, good for you. Have fun with having no trade and losing 2 million of your workers. Stupid shit." I am worried about the UK's future if it was to leave. Anyway, this I was looking for a comment on that video where was someone spewing some bollocks about terrorism, and it was basically that they don't need the EU to have cross-border protection and stuff like that. It's just that you do, because the EU is the EU the EU makes it possible for cross-border cooperation. That is basically that is very hard with non-member states. We don't follow the same rules. We don't follow the same system. We don't follow the same ideals. Or ideals. Not many member states follow the same ideals, but we have a set contract, the European set of values that each member state has signed. If the UK were to leave, we would basically lose. We wouldn't lose a big partner, basically, but we would lose a small partner, basically a third of the big two. There are the three bigs, the France, Germany, and the UK. Those are the three bigs, and let's go back here. The problem with the way that people are. Here we go. That's the one, Johnny C. Prices, security again. Never joined the euro. Why wouldn't they join the euro? Why? I live in Sweden. We don't have the euro. No more bailouts. That is just egocentrical, if you ask me. Where is United Europe? We should act like European citizens. Each member state shouldn't think of themselves as any better than anyone else. Why should the bloody UK do? Passport Schengen. Again, it's not a requirement when you are in the EU to be in Schengen, but it helps. Our army is 10,000 strong. Well, we have the bloody European. If any country were to attack any other member state in the EU, or even our affiliates, to some extent, those who have signed the agreement, the Barcelona Agreement, I think it was, or something like that. I can't remember. It was a Spanish city anyway, where we have an obligation as a member state to help them, militarily or otherwise. Superstate. We are still heading towards a never closer union. Why is that bad? Someone explain to me why the bloody hell that would be bad. Why? Can't you see that you are already in a superstate? The United Kingdom is just a union within a union. Of course, if you ask me if the UK leave, I fucking hope the Scots leave. I was against the Scots leaving the UK, but if they are EU, they're very, very much for the EU, if I understand things correctly. But the southern parts ain't. Why that is, I don't know. You would think that the Scots, with their national pride and all of that, would be less keen on a European Union, but if I understand things correctly, they are basically chums with people in the EU, or at least not hostile to them, it seems that people in the south of England is, or the south of the UK is. Let's see. We were talking about we just mentioned who makes our own laws. That is, why would you care? I mean, it doesn't matter how hostile you are. You are just a loud little prick. We are heading towards a federal united Europe. And should we really stand in the way of it? I was hostile to it. Remember, I was so bloody hostile to it just a few years ago. And then Crimea happened. I'm sorry about that event, the Crimea incident, the Ukrainian incident. That really crystallized everything for me. This isn't no longer about the individual member states. This is about the European values. This is about us, the European people. We can't no longer stand as on the sides. We have to take our place on the world stage. We have to basically, I think that Europe needs to be united, and we need to basically disband NATO. And we need to stand on our own. We don't need the United States. We don't need Russia. We don't need who else may be. We don't need China. Well, we do need China, sort of. But we should really stand on our own. As a European people, as a united European federation of people. We have lots of cultures here. Lots of languages. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very hard. But if we don't, we're up for grabs. It is basically as the quote goes, alone we break like sticks, together we are strong like a faggot. It's true. A faggot is much stronger than a single twig. And that is something you must understand. We member states, or we, the citizens of the member states, shouldn't be afraid of what comes. Then we're up for grabs. We should stand united at the forefront as a beacon of prosperity, of beacon of, I don't know, beacon of whatever you want. Beacon of decency in the world. Up against our brethren in the US, our brethren in Russia. We should stand as equals with them. We should stand as equals with the Chinese. We don't, as it is now. We're up for grabs. Just as the trade deals with the United States is showing. We let the Americans set the agenda because we are not united. And that is not good. We must, someday, whether we like it or not, stand together up against tyranny, up against those who wish us harm, those who wish us we should take our liberties, those who wish to take our rights and take our obligations away from us. My name has been Gigu Zaron. Today has been the 21st of February 2015, or 2015? 2016, goddammit. 2016 02/21. The time is now 18:07, and I'm signing off. Have a good one, everyone.